Here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's the Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. That's Mike, I'm Alex, and we are The Good Brothers. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Neither do we, Pete. Mike, tell the people why none of us feel very good right now.
Good brother. Thanos' snap happened all over Twitter just over 36 hours ago as huge news has broken, good brother. Sony and Marvel have divorced, and they are not splitting custody of little Peter Parker. He is staying with his madre at Sony. We will get into what all that means and the ramifications of that.
Here's what I'm about. If Liam Hemsworth and Miley Cyrus can be parents to dogs civilly, why can't they with Peter Parker and Spider-Man?
Because there is some hot blood and some big issues that go behind it. And if you're a sports fan, I think this is a conversation you're going to want to stick around for. But before we get into all that, we have to check out how the box office results ended up this weekend in the movie theaters, along with what's coming out.
Movies are still out right now after summer.
I know, it's crazy. Good brother, Matrix 4 is coming and being uploaded into the consciousness. Whoa. We'll get into what all those. We'll get into all that and what that means. Kevin Smith is bringing He-Man to Netflix.
I have the power.
WWE NXT is moving to the USA Network. Yeah. What does that mean for the wrestling world? Of course, Spider-Man is now out of the MCU and it's exclusively back at Sony.
Ooh,
but good brother,
sprinkle, just a little bit.
Why don't we go to the movies and see how everything broke out this weekend at the box office? At number one, opening up at number one was Good Boys at $21 million.
Heard good stuff.
At number two, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, bringing in another $14 million.
I believe worldwide they're like killing it, like South Korea, China, wherever. Like they're like racking up this money.
Yeah, for a spinoff that has nothing to really
more
do
money than the original. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
How about number three again? The Lion King, making another $12 million.
Oh, Disney definitely needs that money.
How about this one getting buried? At number four, The Angry Birds Movie 2, with only $10 million.
Was that its opening or was that last week?
This was its opening. Man. And you want to know the budget that's been reported?
$60 million.
$65 million. Right? Oh, yeah, for Angry Birds 2, only making $10 million opening weekend.
I'll be honest, I've seen the first one on the cable. Uh-huh. You know, I still got the cable. It's fine. You know, it's not like a Sing or anything where I like really enjoyed it. It's fine. I'll be honest, like they did not do a good job advertising this new movie. I think you should have. It's not Pets where we're like, oh, I want to see dogs. Like you're gonna sell dogs alone and cats, and Kevin Hart is a rabbit. Like he's one of your mascots now, for God's sake. I think the problem with Angry Birds is it's so 10 years ago about the game. Modern kids don't know what Angry Birds is. So who's this movie for? It's our audience when games were popular and we play them in the computer lab,
right,
or on our phones. Like we were still mixing, but now we expect kids that don't play this game. Like that's so lost in time. I feel like with Angry Birds, just like Emoji's movie. It's like I get what you want to do, but you're not doing a good job of it. And you were kind of lucky to strike when it was good. But now you've kind of just lost whatever you thought you were.
And at number 5 is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, making $10 million. At number 6 is Dora and the Lost City of Gold, bringing in $8 million. Only in its 4 weeks, only making $33 million on a $49 million budget.
Pay for Danny Trejo as the monkey.
Yeah, I know. It's a this in its second week. It's made $33 million combined on a budget of.
It's Dora. I don't think anyone cares.
At number 7 is 47 Meters Down Uncaged, bringing in $8 million in its opening weekend.
I wish that movie got better reviews like the first one because it's Little Stallone and Little Fox.
Yeah,
the stars. I wish it was better, but I've heard nothing but bad things about it. So that kind of sucks because the first one actually did get a lot of like nice. What's that movie? Crawl, right?
The
where it was like, where it was like, hey, it's good. It's low budget. It's a horror film, but it's really good. That's the first one. This one was not that.
Yeah, well, I liked. Yeah, I mean, this summer
problem.
to me, still Craw's the best little horror movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, bringing in another $7 million. At number 9, The Art of Racing in the Rain, bringing in $4 million. And at number 10, Blinded by the Lights, only bringing in $4 million. And also opening up this past weekend was Where'd You Go, Bernadette's, only making $3 million.
Again, very toward the end. We're in this industry, Mike. You can tell when a movie's like, do you ever see those fake trailer sites? But they'll throw a real trailer from 10 years ago, and you're like, they made an Elvis movie? It's like, well, yeah, no one saw it. That's why it's here. Sometimes it's advertising, and sometimes it's just you'll see something, and you remember that Eddie Murphy movie, the one where he was a Mr. Nice Guy and he was raising a little white kid. Do you remember those trailers where it was his first foray back into acting and he had just gotten his first starring role again, and it was Mr. Something, and he was a nice guy in the trailer. Everything about the trailer made you think this is going to be an Oscar movie. And then it just because it just died, and toward the release they stopped pumping money into it. They don't go past the budget because that's how budget works. Yeah. If I say, Mike, you made a movie, here's $35 million to advertise, you're gonna spend most of that at first, and then when it starts picking up even more, now you start buying more commercials toward it. If it doesn't, you're starting to say, I'm not gonna put more money into this.
And it's a great lesson. And we'll talk a little bit more about the business side of the movie industry, but that is a great way to put it. And before we head out of the box office, opening up this weekend, we have Angel Has Fallen with Gerard Butler.
The closing of that trilogy.
Yeah, and a fun, little action trilogy. I do like the first one.
I like the first one. I think that's the better one than the Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx one.
That one is White House Down.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I think Olympus Has Fallen is the better version.
Oh, yes. I see what
how they battle each other? No, they battle each other.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason this one got a franchise. Yeah. Because Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman are better.
It's really weird how that was the time in movies, though, where there was a weird pair of twos that was happening.
It was it might be the last of those pair of twos, honestly.
But I can't remember the other one. There was another big one that was a pair of
2012 and something else, but it was bad.
So, good brother. Why don't we move into the simulation that is Matrix 4? Keanu Reeves is confirmed. So, just so everybody, we talk about fake trailer sites and all these different places that really...
They can fool people with Facebook.
This is official. So, this is quoted. We cannot be more excited to be re-entering The Matrix with Lana, said Emmerich. Lana is a true visionary. Mind you, this is Lana Wachowski, one of the Wachowski siblings, a singular and original creative filmmaker, and we are thrilled that she is writing, directing, and producing this new chapter in the Matrix universe. In addition to Wachowski, the script was also written by Alexander Herman and David Mitchell. Wachowski is also producing with Grant Hill. Sources say the film is to begin production at the top of 2020. But that is big news, that we have one of the Wachowskis coming back, that the Matrix 4 is coming back. But what's the cherry on top, the thing that really brings that home? Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss reprising their roles as Neo and Trinity. And honestly, to me, it's Matrix 1, Matrix 2 for the first hour and a half, and then it kind of dies out there.
Can I be honest with you? Yeah. I've seen Matrix 1 a million times. I've seen the first half up till when the hotel after the highway scene, the really good stuff.
Yeah.
A million times. I've seen maybe the second half once, didn't understand it. And I've seen part 3 maybe one time when I was very young and did not understand it. And I recently saw the last 30 minutes again on AMC. So that is kind of goes to show you how much they really lose it. I think they're in the stage of they're going to pull a Halloween, a Predator, what am I thinking? Terminator, where they're like, we're going to just bring a movie. We might ignore most of what 2 and 3 did. We're going to keep some of the story since it's pretty open. But I think they're better off just kind of being like, let's just make a good movie. Let's not try to live and die like 2 and 3 did. Because I think that's one of the best, it has to be one of the best movies to make one of the worst franchises ever. Is that not right?
I see where you're going with that.
It's one of the best first movies to create one of the worst, I would say, trilogies.
Sure.
Because how bad 2 and 3 really are. We're not just mean-mugging it, guys. They're bad movies.
So are you excited, though?
I'm excited because I love The Matrix, I love Keanu Reeves. The Wachowskis?
It's only one of the Wachowskis, but yeah.
Just one of them? Okay, that's fine. I'm sure the other one's, around somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. Like, I kind of wish they would have done the Michael B. Jordan route that the rumors were saying, that they were going to reboot it, because I wouldn't mind seeing the same story, but, like, a little different. But now you reboot it with Michael B. Jordan or whoever, Hollywood guy of the week, that Miles Teller or something like that. I would have liked that a little more. But, we're in the Keanu-san, so I'm okay with it.
I was going to say, in the year of John Wick 3 and Toy Story 4 and him being involved with all those.
We're getting all these announcements for future movies, and he's in video
Bill
games.
and Ted.
Yeah, he's on Netflix. He's lovable. He's the most lovable man this year.
It makes the most sense.
It
and
was
honestly,
McConaughey 2016.
But this also makes sense because of the world we live in and to see how they could play with all that. And it'll be interesting. So if there's a good script and you got Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves together and maybe even Lawrence Fishburne at some point, unless they recast him and maybe that's who Michael B. Jordan ends up playing.
Or maybe
young Morpheus.
Like, he's a younger stuff because, spoiler for a 20-year-old movie, he dies. Maybe we get a younger version and he's on Morpheus. Like, that'd be cool.
Neo dies and so does Trinity. They all die.
Like,
so it's interesting how that plays out.
Yeah.
I'm excited though because you and I are kids from that era, and this was one of those first big DVD push movies. This was one of the first for us TV
Special
movies on Fox and features
video
and
game adaptations.
So
like,
Enter the Matrix for video game nerds like us when we were younger was one of the biggest releases, even though the game wasn't great.
Like, even kids nowadays, like, they don't realize that 0101's like that green lettering was the code. Like, that's part of pop culture now. Like, that's like a Pepsi logo. Like, you're like, oh, the Matrix. Like, I know what that is.
I mean, think about how much the Trinity Swan backwards, all that. Like that's all from how important Matrix 1 is.
Like, everything's from Matrix 1. Because we still get gifts of the red pill and the blue pill and people putting
Matrix 1 is brilliant.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Brilliant.
It's the best first movie to make one of the worst trilogies.
I will argue. And this is why the Good Brothers was created. Because we have a conversation like this really fast because we have bigger fish to fry. To me, science fiction wise though, I know a lot of people swear by Blade Runner. I know some people swear by Highlander. To me,
is that really science fiction?
I don't know. Yeah. To me, the prototype gold standard on a pedestal sci-fi movie is The Matrix.
Matrix is probably my top 3. I think Star Wars as a franchise would be number 1.
I consider that more fantasy than sci-fi.
That's sci-fi. They're in space.
No, see, sci-fi is science fiction. To me, fantasy. No, their fantasy is a princess, an evil empire.
Okay, we can't get in that debate.
It's a great conversation. We'll save that for a slow episode.
Debate because Star Wars is definitely, it's sci-fi fantasy, but it's definitely sci-fi.
Oh, I got an idea. The Mercado Airwaves presents The Good Brothers presents a Good Brothers Star Wars Special Edition. You get it? It's Christmas special Star Wars Special Edition where we decide if Star Wars is fantasy or sci-fi.
Is this the next? What's it called?
Christmas. This is the Christmas special.
The Christmas movie. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, which it is.
It is the Christmas movie.
But is this our next one?
Yeah, and just to solidify that, Alex, it's only a Christmas movie because he would not have gone and seen his wife if it wasn't a Christmas party.
I completely agree, Mike.
So, Matrix 4, we are excited. Speaking of somebody from the 90s who has come back, and a little teaser, good brother, we might have something to do with Keanu Reeves. Halloween, that is a thing you might want to stick around on Instagram. But any other thing we want to get into, it's early on. Production will begin. It seems like everything is kind of going in that way in a world full of sequels and IP.
It was just to get the word out. Let's get excited,
Matrix 4 is in the pipeline. Good brother. Something else that's in the pipeline that has seemed to be in production forever is He-Man. I have the power. And the power is being brought to you by showrunner, one of the kings of nerdom, Kevin Smith himself. And it will be coming to Netflix. And you know who's the animation team behind this? The team that brought you the Castlevania series on Netflix. So imagine Kevin Smith showrunning a He-Man series drawn and brought to you by the people who brought Castlevania. And you could check it out in the archives. I gushed over Castlevania this past Halloween. I guess it was a year ago at this point now. I loved Castlevania. I'm super excited. We aren't He-Man generation. We're not.
No, not even close. We're not even like... That's the G.I. Joe, He-Man.
Yeah, none of that.
We're definitely like the superheroes. Yeah.
But with that being said, Prince Adam, a.k.a. He-Man, with Skeletor, and She-Ra.
We know these people. We're in the culture enough to know what it is.
Give me Kevin Smith and the people who brought me Castlevania. I'm in.
I'll be
I'm
controversial.
in. Yeah.
What's the last thing Kevin Smith did that was great?
Tusk.
That was great, Mike. Not that.
Okay, great, fair. Okay, great.
Like, come on, dude. I'm
Clerks too?
Trust me, I'm a Kevin Smith. That's so long ago. I'm a Mark because as a nerd, as a podcaster, as a TV host, as a host, I'm a nerd. I love the man. As a director and a showrunner, I'm glad this is animated. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I think that helps him a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, the man has not had a hit in a very long time. And let's be honest, even his hits are very cult classic. Like, I have an issue and I have respect. It's kind of a catch-22 of someone that refuses to adapt but doesn't want to give up their image. So I have a lot of respect for that. At the same time, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and pretend Tusk was a good movie. I don't think it was. Or what was the other one with the wieners or whatever? Yoga Hausers. Yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and pretend his daughter's a good actress or yet. She can get better. People learn. She's young. Or that he's the next Scorsese or something. Like, he's fine. Like, there's a lot of people I'd rather have had the job. I think it's a name. I think you're going for a name at this point, which for this franchise that's been in limbo for so long, you had to do that. You had to find someone nerds would have been like, I like him. As one of those nerds who you wanted to go to, I'm smart enough to know, man, dude, the guy has not made anything really good in like 20 years.
I will say this, though. I enjoyed Tusk, and this is where it's really important to understand about this hire. We have seen that Kevin Smith has done a really good job directing episodes of The Flash and Supergirl.
True.
So with that in mind, as a showrunner, the idea of him being a nerd, having the idea of knowing how to do episodic stuff, also having the experience of it, taking the nerdom of it.
It's not his own thing.
It's not his own thing.
He's running with the lore already. Man, you're right. And I'll give him that. You're right. When it comes to running with the lore that's already pre-made, he does do a great job. So I'll give you that. Maybe I worded it wrong. Anything out of his mind, I'm not a big fan of because I don't think it's hit.
Sure.
Except for like Dogma. I like Dogma.
Dogma's really good. I like Jersey Girl. I like Clerks.
Jersey Girl's fine. Yeah. But I agree with you. Yes, when it's a property that's already been, you're right. He is pretty. I should give him more benefit of the doubt. But I think it's a smart hire, name alone.
Well, yeah, and strictly just for branding, it's a great hire.
We'll learn. Like that's how we're going to learn about He-Man is through this.
But something else big happened, good brother, when it came to a move that shook pop culture and the sports and entertainment world. NXT
XFL
actually released the logos and the colors. Some of them look cool. Shout out to the Dragons. Yeah,
I'm gonna be a bandit.
Yeah. NXT, the gold and black brand, the third brand, is moving to the USA Network on September 18th, starting at 8/7 Central, and it will be 2 hours long. And it makes sense now when we look back, when we found out Eric Bischoff was going to be the head guy at SmackDown, and Paul Heyman will be the head guy at Raw.
And why Triple H got passed over.
Triple H?
Well, he's going to run this.
He's the third
guy.
So
my non-wrestling people, imagine if you got top 10 college football every Sunday at 12 o'clock. Or at 3 to 6, like where you wouldn't usually have a game, now you have a game. That's the best way to do it. You have, like, think about like you're seeing Bama versus LSU on a Sunday at 12 o'clock now.
Right.
That's what we're trying to tell you. Like when it's this is their third brand, this is like their young, sometimes some people say better, more fun brand. Like there's a lot of people that our little brother loves college football, likes the NFL, loves football in general. But college football, our dad lives for it. Yeah. And I agree with some people. Our friend Cisco even. I agree with that. So this is basically what I'm saying. Not only that, we're going to take like Bama versus Ohio State, LSU versus Clemson, like the biggest games you can think of, and we're going to put it on prime time. That's what this is. So that's how big this really is for everyone.
Quote, the move to USA Network provides an opportunity to deepen our relationship with NBC Universal and further build the NXT brand, said Vince McMahon, WWE Chairman and CEO. Over the long term, our goal is to develop a following that can be monetized to the same level as our flagship programs, Raw and SmackDown. So it's going to be interesting to see this, interesting to see what happens with AEW on TNT, and that is why the Good Brothers will be your home for everything that is sports and entertainment as things heat up between two major companies and the big one making some huge moves. And speaking of two huge companies making huge moves, good brother, you and I thought this would be a day where we would only talk about James Bond and do something goofy to...
Oh, what's the James Bond title?
Never Die Again.
Never Die Again. Yeah,
it's
James
actually
Bond
pretty dope.
Title. Yeah. Great title. Yeah. Dying franchise.
I can't believe I pulled that out of my head.
It needs to move on. I mean, it's not that original.
Yeah, I know. But speaking of not being original.
Ding, ding.
Yeah. Good, brother. Let's start off with the quote that really brought it all home. Quote, much of today's news about Spider-Man has mischaracterized recent discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We are disappointed, but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer of our next live-action Spider-Man film. We hope this might change in the future, but understand that many new responsibilities that Disney has given him, including all their newly added Marvel properties, do not allow time for him to work on IP they do not own. Kevin is terrific, and we are grateful for his help and guidance and appreciate the path he has helped put us on, which we will continue. This is from the report after Deadline broke the news that Marvel and Sony have divorced. Spider-Man is now heading back home.
He's not even an orphan. Like, his mom just took him to a different state without telling Pops, really.
So, really, it just comes down to this. They were going to the renegotiation table, and it came down to Disney wanting 50% of the box office, and this is the thing that nobody really wants to talk about because it's really easy to defend the front runner. They also want complete control of everything that Sony was going to be doing when it came to the IP in the Spider-Man universe, when it came to Sonyverse. So essentially, Venom 2, Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, Silk, all these movies Disney wanted their hands on. Good brother, you have been on this story from jump when we knew that the deal was getting close to its final film.
And I'll be honest, I was the one person that was, at the time, stupid enough to say, guys, I'll be honest, Sony's going to get ballsy and take it back. And everyone was kind of like, no, I don't think so. They're not that dumb. And even me, I was like, well, maybe they're not that dumb, but I could see it happening, guys. Like, and guess what? Here's what ends up happening. Simple terms. Disney asked for too much, and Sony's not so good. They didn't counteroffer. They didn't say this. They kind of were a little childish and been like...
But before you get into that, it was actually reported that Sony did make a counteroffer. They made a counteroffer, not 50-50, 70-30. The breaking point was not the money. It's not the box office. Sony did not want to give Disney the rights to their other Spider-Man movies. Essentially, you have to think about it this way. Sony was going to give another movie company their production rights to their films.
But here's what we're going back and forth with at the end of the day. We both have two stories. That's how big this case is, where it's like Mike can throw out that fact, and then I'll throw out this. Well, actually, according to this article, he walked out instead, and that was actually false rumor, 730. We really don't know what happened behind closed doors. And I think Mike texted me the best part. He's like, yeah, just $2 billion companies going at it at the expense of us at the end of the day. Because like I said, me and Mike could tell two different stories that are completely true. And that's a problem. Because guess what? These are the companies leaking. Disney leaked it. Sony leaked it. They're the ones saying, like, let's stir this shit up. Guess what's going to happen at the end of the day, guys? Spoiler alert. They're going to come to an agreement.
I actually saw you were the one who brought it up on social media. A great nerd, connoisseur, and movie pundit brought it up. Wouldn't it be interesting that on D23, what would happen?
That they come out and announce, we have a 7-movie deal. We're bringing Venom in. We signed him on. We're best friends. They bring Sony on board. Guys, first of all, that's what's going to happen.
Too much money.
This is how you do it. This is how social media works. You cause drama for no reason. I guarantee they're all laughing and sitting together right now, having some cognac and being like, man, that worked out perfectly, didn't it? We just leaked. No one knows anything. We just leaked random things. Oh, you found out about that. Oopsie, we're just a multi-bajillion-dollar company, and we leaked this one thing. We didn't even know the ending to Avengers. You're telling me this leak, guys? Come on.
Well, and also, it goes to your point where as the days have gone on and as the hours have moved on, people have even noticed that Sony has spent a lot of time of spinning the story because they knew Disney was, the big conglomerate in this story. And that's what's so interesting about it. It's like, are you really going to root for the $2 billion corporations that are banking all these money? But that's what fandom is. Now,
I'm with you. I'll pick either side. There's not a Disney Sony side. There's a damn. So either A, we're going to pay for a franchise that we know is probably going to not be that great or different, or B, we're going to have to keep watching a movie franchise that one of our favorite characters not in anymore because you got money hungry. Damn, we don't win either way, do we?
Exactly. And now let's go into this. This is Marvel's from the surface. And after most of this dust has settled, in my opinion, this seems much more to the end of Disney, Marvel being a little bit more unreasonable at the dinner table. But that's not to say that in the next, I don't know, few weeks we learned that Marvel, it was Sony that wants to do it. What do you think this means, though? So if over-under, do you think, what is the over-under of you thinking we get Spider-Man back in the MCU? 35, 40%?
70.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think it's pretty high,
Almost
too.
100.
Yeah.
How close can I get to 100 without being an idiot? 70.
How bummed would you be if they do have to recycle and kind of just
Me personally?
Yeah.
One, you and me have to watch every movie anyway. Doesn't matter
really
what.
matter. I agree.
Doesn't matter what comes up before. Fox, Sony, Disney, DC. Don't matter. So for me personally, don't care. Spider-Man's probably. I did like the last movie a lot better. First one I think is very bad. I'll die saying that I hated Homecoming.
I love Homecoming.
Hate Homecoming.
Yeah.
Far From Home was great, though. I love
Far
it.
From Home.
So I really don't care. I feel like if Sony gets him, then we're just gonna go to as soon as they're done with
Venom 2.
No. As soon as we're done with, they'll put him in Venom. Homeboy.
Morbius.
No, the actor. Sorry, Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. He's going to have to do one more movie when he doesn't want to. And that's going to be a way for Sony to be like, fine, we'll bring Miles Morales in. He did really good. We'll bring a live action version.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I kind of want that.
Yeah.
And then it's like also, well, I do want him hanging around with all my favorite characters. So either way, I got to watch the movies. I really don't care. Spider-Man's fine. He's no like, my favorite character's in a battle with Universal still with the Incredible Hulk. So what do I care?
Now, let me ask you this. What's the one misconception that you've seen a lot in this conversation that's annoying you or that you kind of want to correct?
That there's a side to pick.
Okay,
that
yeah.
both sides are equally wrong and right. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what side you pick. We're the ones that are going to lose in it. And I think we're all stupid to think this is going to be done. I think it's just social media. I think the last point is, if you think this wasn't a publicity stunt to leak everything, it's one thing to business, that could be business, but to leak everything and you don't think it was purposely leaked by both sides to build up something just for them to say we agree to something, then I think you're the audience. You're the one they were aiming for because you fell for it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point.
Saying you're wrong.
No, and it's a great point, but it's also you can't back up in deals. Guess what? When Marvel sold off their rights to try to survive, they survived. And I know Disney wants to control everything that they own. They want all their IP, but business is business. And they sold Spider-Man to Sony a long time ago, and Sony has every right to make sure that they get benefited. And for a small company like us, for small business people like us, we don't want to be taken advantage of. And I understand that these are billionaires, but this idea of just because we really love the Avengers and we really love Far From Home and some people really love Homecoming and we loved all these movies, that doesn't mean, though, that they can just do what they want and Disney doesn't do wrong. The fact remains is you have $2 billion corporations that refuse to, on the surface, want to work with each other. But as the good brother and I brought up, it'll just be so magical and just so weird that when D23 comes along, we find out that Tom Holland, a.k.a. Spider-Man, will be right next to the Avengers you love on Disney, Disney Plus, and at the theater. But good brother, we'll keep an eye on this story. Obviously, it's going to be everywhere, and we'll keep
it's going to be the big news for the next 2 days.
For the next few weeks, I think this is going to be a story.
I think it's going to be done faster than that. I think people are going to get over it pretty fast.
Interesting.
I hope at least. God, I hope.
And this is gonna be
there's a rainforest burning down. Maybe we should pay a little attention to that.
I think two things will happen. That fire is going to be burning for a while, and this story will be hot for a while. I think those two things are.
I get it.
See what I did there?
That's
good brother.
Like,
any last thoughts?
Our world is dying. Right?
Yeah, it's very scary, good brother. It's very terrifying.
But hey, movies make me happy, so I'm going to think about movies instead.
Speaking of happy, the show is over, good brother. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to hit on before we close up shop?
Star Wars is a sci-fi movie.
Star Wars is a fantasy movie, and thank you each and every one.
Almost like it's under the category of sci-fi fantasy. Oh, I get the box now.
Interesting.
Oh, that's what they meant by sci-fi fantasy.
You get all this.
Is Lord of the Rings sci-fi fantasy?
Lord of the Rings is just fantasy, I think.
But
because what's the science fiction in Lord of the Rings?
There's fucking
Where's
dragons.
your science? Where is dragons or science?
Dragons didn't exist, and it's not real.
That's why it's fantasy, dummy.
Okay, I get that, but that's a thin line, man. Because is magic science? Thor said it was.
No, Thor says we call it science.
But doesn't that make it? Just
but
because
Thor is magic.
But we call it two different things. But as people, we still call it science.
But in our reality, that's
Save
magic.
debate, because I got the arguments for this. I got a lot of things.
Stay close for the Thanksgiving episode of The Good Brothers when we talk about this
we
one.
Have so many specials down the line.
We'll see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado
Airwaves
Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airways crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airways. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airways. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airways. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airways by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airways, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airways Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airways crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airways. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airways. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airways by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airways, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.